This session today is in continuation with the series of interactions we had with Swami Shitikanthananda Maharaj after every contest. So basically this is to help all of us get a deeper understanding on the teachings of Swami Vivekananda so that we can implement them in our day-to-day lives. So on that note, we are fortunate to have Swami Shitikanthananda Maharaj here with us today. Most of us are familiar with Maharaj and his teachings. We have attended most of the sessions that we have taken so far. A brief introduction of Maharaj. Maharaj has joined the Ramakrishna Order at its Hyderabad center in 1997. He took a vow of sannyasa in the year 2006. He worked in various capacities at the MUD's publication department and health wing. He was the director of Vivekananda Institute of Languages. Maharaj also conducted various classes on topics like mind control, personality development, cultural and spiritual ethos of India, application of Vedantic principles in day-to-day life. Of the many topics, just to name a few, he has been the driving force in concretizing Swami Vivekananda's ideas and shaping it into Aaryajanani, of which we all are a part today. So we thank Maharaj for everything. And Namaskaram, Maharaj. So,
Namaste.
So the idea for today would be, in all the previous sessions that we had, we have seen that the contestants have a lot of questions that they wanted to talk with Maharaj on, but due to the time constraint, some questions were not answered. So today we thought we will change the pattern a bit, take the question and answer sessions first, and then go forward depending on the time. So we would request all the contestants to type their questions in the chat box, and the questions will be read out to Maharaj. So I think there was one question at the beginning of the session itself. The question, Maharaj, is, with deepest reverence, I have a humble question. What would you kindly advise for the youths, boys and girls, who aspire to lead a monastic life, but do not have any nearby center where they can visit often or regularly?
So monastic life, somebody wants to lead a monastic life, so you don't have to have a center nearby. So you can join any of these centers of this mission, and you can use the platform if your goal is to realize God. In fact, Vivekananda started this organization with the idea of helping the youth of the country who are interested to seek God. He just wanted to provide the platform so that it becomes easy to search for God. And I want to lead a household life and I want to, progress on the spiritual path. Yes, whether you're a Gurhastha or whether you're a sannyasi, the goal of life is to know God, to realize God. So that's what Sri Ramakrishna said. We have to pursue the path. Yeah, you just get associated with a nearby center then, or you just get connected to the literature of Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads and scriptures, and keep reading. What you need to have, Sri Ramakrishna says, you need to have Vyakulata, that longing for God. At least, of course, we have so many responsibilities. We have to fulfill our secular responsibilities. We have jobs. We have to make money to live in these cities. Because today, without money, there's no life. Life doesn't move at all. So one side, you have these challenges and responsibilities. And then at the same time, at least have God in the beginning as one of the desires. And slowly try to intensify the desire. As you grow older, to 50 and 60, by then your secular responsibilities are over. So with all your heart and soul, you seek God and you long for God. So something great will happen in life. Today, what happens actually, we miss God completely. And only when you are in distress or some hard blow has come upon us, And then at that point of time, we think little philosophy and spirituality and little God. And afterwards, again, the passion evaporates. We won't be thinking of God at all. So, but if you if you go by the teachings of our sages and rishis, they all have said in one voice that this world is Maya. If you really want to have peace, true peace and happiness, you won't get it here because by design it is created like that. Mrityu samsara sagarat. The Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita. And the creator of the universe himself is saying, this is Mrityu samsara sagara. This samsara is kind of mrityu, death. You can't have real peace and happiness. They all have asked us to transcend the world of name and form, to go beyond the body and mind. There lies our true nature, which is consciousness, which is spirit, which is soul. In that lies the absolute bliss and immortality. We should have that aspiration, and then we must long consciously to reach that. Buddha had attained, Adi Shankara had attained, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had attained, Vivekananda had attained, a galaxy of sages and saints had attained to that truth and asked us actually to long for that truth alone. Where the world is temporary, it is transient, everything is changing, nothing is permanent. How can you have eternal peace and happiness through something which is constantly changing, namely this body and mind and also the outside world, external world? So they said it's impossible. Your goal itself is, irrational in the sense that to long for eternal peace and happiness in this temporary and transient world is illogical, right? So this temporary and transient world has an adhisthana, okay, as a basis, substratum, which we call. That substratum is God or consciousness, whatever the word you may prefer to use. But how to get to that God, how to get to that substratum, how to get to that eternal through this ephemeral world, that should be the goal. And then actually when your desire is strong, something opens up for you. But if your desire itself is not there, and naturally we'll be getting more into this Maya and then get suffocated. That's all. No peace and no happiness can be had. So now the problem is the question that is very often asked is how to manage this both secular and sacred life, or professional and personal life. These are the questions that actually every person has. But even to do something great in our secular life, we have to make money, we have to earn things for a family to support the family. And all that things can happen only there is efficiency in the mind. Okay, there is no efficiency in the mind in the sense that the mind is full of stress, full of anxiety, and full of fear, and these negative emotions and negative thoughts are bothering us so much. And when you have so much of negativity in terms of thought and in terms of emotion, our efficiency is very low. With that low efficiency instrument, even if we actually want to achieve something big in our secular life, mundane life, it won't be possible. And we have this misconception in our culture that spirituality and reading of books like the Bhagavad Gita, Vivekananda, we must do it after 60. That is the misconception that is set into our society now. These are the books that we have to read when you are young and when you are in the prime of your youth, and never when we are jailed and faded. Post 60 books, they are not definitely. Post retirement books, they are not. And when you have a good idea and complete understanding of life, the total scheme of things, the divine scheme of things, then it becomes easy for us to wade through all the problems of life, different challenges, whatever the kind of challenges that we may have to face, whatever the troubles and hardships, we'll be able to face them boldly, confidently, and courageously once we have this spiritual empowerment. So we have initiated this program of conducting competitions because though Vivekananda's birthday is celebrated as the National Youth Day, his teachings are not introduced to the youth of the country at large because these teachings have not become part of our objective curriculum either at school level or at college level. Why that has happened, actually, though his birthday is being celebrated as the National Youth Day officially, but his teachings are not available to the youth of the country through curriculum, I mean to say. And that is because, this is a secular country and these educational policy makers, they have their own reservations and fears and all those things. And so the youth of the country are missing this nectar. Swamiji's teachings are life-giving message of Vivekananda. It's a man-making and life-giving message of Vivekananda. Golden message, an eternal message, an Amrita Tulya Sandesha, that is, Amrita Sandesha. That Amrita Sandesha, you're missing. And afterwards, after 60, 70, really it's difficult to understand these philosophical concepts. And even if you understand, there's no life before you to apply them or put them into practice. So this is the age. So even if I give you a free book, for example, I'll give you a free book on this practical Vedanta and I'll ask you to read. I know in our country, anything given free of cost is useless. We don't even look at it. So we have hit upon this idea of conducting competitions. Competition is evil because there is so many aspirants to, we long to attain the prize, to get the goal, prize. But the problem is, because it is competition, you want to win the prize, you apply to reading. You actually, again and again, you will make an attempt to read and comprehend. A single reading, if you don't understand it, you will go for the second time, a third time, fourth time. In the process, you will digest the ideas, you will comprehend the ideas completely, and those ideas will be useful to you in your practical life, in your day-to-day life. So that is the idea we hit upon, with thought of conducting competitions. But of course, there will be some disappointment. You worked hard to get a prize, but it has not happened. Okay, you have not won the prize. But it's not important. Winning the prize is not at all important. You have participated and then you are successful. That's all, in our opinion. Because had it not been for the competition, you would never have read these teachings. At least you might actually, uh, get inspired to read these teachings at a later stage in life, but never at this age. And I congratulate you all, right brains, okay, the young people of this nation. You are all special in that way. You are the salt of the earth. So for whatever reason, maybe to win the prize or maybe just to out of love for Vivekananda, and you have come and attended and participated in this competition, I'm sure you have absorbed some of the nectaring teachings of Vivekananda. I really congratulate you. It will help you to shape your personality and to build your character and to have clarity in life itself. There is so much of confusion in society today, though there is so much of information available all around. So many YouTube channels, so many lectures everywhere. But still the confusion is prevailing. That's why people are feeling stress and anxiety. If there is clarity in your mind, there is a need for actually for you to lead a stressful life, to lead a life of anxiety and to lead a life of fear. So the clarity is important, and no other teaching, in my opinion, other than the teachings of Swami Vivekananda, will provide that clarity, because he was an intellectual genius, a great prophet, a nation builder, and a philosopher, a mystic, yogi par excellence. So that is the idea of conducting these competitions. You all have read these 4 lectures on practical Vedanta and also that lecture on real and the apparent man. I'm sure you have observed the essence of these teachings. You have empowered yourself truly. That much I can say. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. And the next question is, why do we get attached to people and why we want a partner or a friend?
See, mind is designed in such a way, according to our philosophy, it is a ghost. It is very nebulous. It doesn't have a shape of its own. I want the young people here who are here today in this meeting to understand it clearly. Mind is a ghost, according to Yoga Vasishta and according to our scriptures. It doesn't have a form of its own. It is Maya. What is Maya, if you ask? Simplest definition that I give you is this. Mind is Maya. Its existence depends upon desire. Without desire, sans desire, mind cannot survive. Mind will not have any shape, it will die. And so it is the survival instinct of the mind which is making us feel incomplete. And that is the reason we need these relationships, we need all these things of the world. That's the game that mind is playing with us. But we are afraid to let go the mind, to kill the mind, to annihilate the mind, because we think we are the mind. With that mind only, we get that individuality. Somehow, this idea of preserving this individuality, which is body-based and mind-based, is delusion. This is basically Maya. And when you reflect and you understand that actually, why do I not get the happiness that I really long for? Because mind is constantly cheating us. So, but we don't understand that. It's very treacherous. It is deceptive. It says that, you go for it, there will be a lot of enjoyment, there will be a lot of happiness you get. Go for it, it says. So we will cultivate the desire and we'll work hard to achieve the desire. So after achieving that, you just reflect upon it. Is the mind happy? Is the mind saying that I don't need anything else? I'm absolutely happy, I'm peaceful and blissed out now? It is saying no. It just says, in English, there is a saying that everything is a 9-day wonder. And it says, okay, you have got it, now I don't relish it, and you seek something more. You get me that, the mind is saying. Now again, you will strive for that. So between your happiness is only momentary. When you achieve thing and for momentary joy, you get it, and afterwards, that joy fades away. And mind makes you, go for something else, long for something else, and makes you work hard towards that constantly. In the meantime, the life is over. Dharma, the god of death actually is in front of us. We have spent the whole life, but we have not figured out what life is, how we have been cheated, why we have not got the happiness that we have really longed for, where have we gone wrong. This happens birth after birth, birth after birth. After many births, you come to the understanding that this mind, as long as it exists, it's made of pairs and pairs of opposites. No real happiness can be had. So the real happiness, the bliss, God, okay, consciousness, it lies beyond mind. It is a support and substratum of the mind. By nature, we are absolute actually. But somehow we have become now the relative, as it were, through this mind and body complex. And we think that that is our existence. But our real existence is not the body and the mind. This is Maya. And behind the body and mind, there is this consciousness. But why I don't experience consciousness? Why I don't feel consciousness? Consciousness is so subtle. God actually, he has no micro dimension and macro dimension. In the Upanishads, the language used is Anuraniyan Mahato Mahiyan. God is smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest. In a human being, he exists as smaller than the smallest. He is in a dormant form, as it were, if you want to use that language. He is unmanifest now. Very, very subtle. As essence, he is there dwelling in our own heart. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Ruddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. Ramayan Sarvabhutani Nitrarudhani Maya. This is the statement of God in the Bhagavad Gita. Ishvara, the God, I am, Sarvabhutanam, in all the beings, Ruddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. Arjuna, I exist in their heart space. But why don't we feel and perceive when you look at, when we, you do a dissection of the body, what you find? A physical heart you find. Within that physical heart, in that heart space, this consciousness is there because it is very subtle. Sukshmatva tadavijneyam. The Lord says in the Gita again. Because mind can grasp and understand things which are grosser to it. The material world we understand, three-dimensional world we understand. Through what? Through mind. Because the three-dimensional world is grosser to mind. So mind understands and comprehends things which are grosser to it. But mind cannot understand and comprehend things which is subtler than the mind itself. So consciousness, God is support of the mind. He is much subtler than the mind. So mind cannot grasp. So consciousness can never become an object for mind to comprehend. So we can only dissolve mind into consciousness, then we exist as consciousness, we exist as the infinite. That is our true nature. But that requires great courage, I'm saying. That's why in the Upanishads, the language used is kaschid dhiraha pratyagatmanamaikshat avrta chakshu amrtatvamichan. One hero understands that this mind is playing mischief and all the games. Let me annihilate it, let me conquer it. He comes to that conclusion and he resolves actually to conquer the mind. He turns his attention inward. Today, we are not able to turn our attention inward. We are afraid even to look at our mind, to face even our mind. The reality is that it has already become a terrible ghost. People are running all around the place. You just see, weekend has come, 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. You can't spend time with yourself without cell phone, without computer. Can you read a book or can you just meditate and be in yourself? Why have we become so weak? We're all going to temples. You just see every temple is bursting at the seams. You just see the crowd. As if anytime the stampede might happen. The administration is always in jitters, Any temple you take, for example. We are all living in these apartments and flats. Maybe we feel that it's kind of prison. And as soon as we get 2 days of leave, we just want to be out. We want to go somewhere. Why can't we practice, to remind ourselves what our rishis have done, what our yogis have done? Months together, weeks together, years together, they meditated and they established in consciousness. To establish in consciousness themselves, in consciousness. Why can't we make that attempt even to a small degree in this age? The whole world has become restless, as it were, if you ask me. Why this restlessness? You don't want to look into yourself. You don't want to see your mind. You don't want to study it. You're afraid of the ghost. So that is the problem. So in the beginning, mind actually tries to dissuade you. You can't conquer me. You can't annihilate me. Don't be on this attempt actually. So it's impossible for you actually. Don't make an attempt. It doesn't even allow us to look at itself. Because when you don't look at it, it can play all the mischief. The moment you start looking at it, it can't play mischief. That's why it tries to frighten you. This is the thing. Now, when you come to the question actually, why we find it so difficult to realize our own true nature? This is because of the ghost which has become strong. We just see today, our goal in life is to make money. What happens when you get money? You'll get recognition. Or when you get to a position of power, what happens? Again, you get recognition from the society. So you just see the joy that we derive when actually somebody appreciates us, somebody congratulates us, somebody looks upon ourselves as a kind of successful individual, or a victor, that is actually feeding the ego. You're trying to flatten the ghost. That's what we are doing unconsciously, albeit. But that joy doesn't really last because you have fed the ghost, you have fattened the ghost. That should not be done. So all these achievements which bring us, some recognition in this relative world, in this world of mortals, we should never cave for them. Because the other person is mortal, we are mortals. He will live for some days and I will live for some days only. These are all temporary. So we are all going for only to get some recognition from the society. We are practically living for society's sake alone. That is the unfortunate state of affairs today. And we are not able to flow against the stream of the current. That's actually, it requires great courage. And we are trying to, go with the crowd, grow with the majority. That's the human weakness. If you look at our sages and saints, they never actually looked at the society, they never cared for the society, whatever they really felt like, doing, in the sense that they had that longing for truth and they went for it at any cost. What the society thinks, if I do this, if I do this, they never considered that. For example, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. The people considered him a madman because when he put his whole heart and soul into that realization of God. The only question that he had in his mind, so he called her Divine Mother. This is creation is there. There must be a creator. The simple inference. We don't require great logic to understand. There is a creation. We all see we are part of the creation. And there must be a creator. We say that that creator is God. And now his question is, how can I know that God? How can I see that God? How can I realize that God? So he put an anthropomorphic form, that Kadi image is an anthropomorphic form of that all-pervading spirit or consciousness of God. Because now it is abstract. God, we may say that all-pervading is everywhere there, but I don't see, I don't experience him. And how to experience that all-pervading spirit or consciousness, which you say that exists? It must exist. There is something must exist. There must be some creator to this universe. Enormous creation has happened. It's not our design. We are part of the creation. It's no human being has conceptualized this kind of universe. It's infinite, in fact, it's phenomenal, so magnanimous. It's the phenomenal in a very sense. So it's in terms of complexity, in terms of vastness, in terms of, you may say diversity, variety. We have not actually designed. We are not actually. Who is the brainchild behind, architect of this universe? God, we say. Where is that God? He's all pervading. Then why I don't see? So Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he actually, not just Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, all the sages and saints, they put an anthropomorphic form. And Sri Ramakrishna said that you are that infinite consciousness, you are that all-pervading spirit, O Mother, reveal thyself to me. Your real nature I don't know. So the condition that God puts to every sadhaka, spiritual sadhaka is, if you want this world, my child, be happy with it. Okay? That's my Maya. If you want me, you have to forget my Maya, in the sense, my world. He gives us only one option. Either you want me or my world. As long as we are happy with that world that God has created, and he will not come to us. He will only have the, laugh. He will laugh at us and say that my children are happy with the toys that I'm giving them. Let them be happy. When they're fed up with these toys, when they're fed up with the play, let them come. Because parents actually are happy. You give a toy into that. Sri Ramakrishna gives this beautiful analogy. Mother is there working in the kitchen and she wants to do the kitchen work. A small baby is there and the baby is crying. What the mother does? She puts a small toy into the hands of the baby. The baby is happy with the toy. She looks at in amazement. The toy is so beautiful. And the mother now actually goes to the kitchen and does her work. And after some time, the baby starts crying again. The baby wants the mother to take it into her lap. And mother has to do the kitchen work. And so what she does, she gives another toy, little more, beautiful. And the child becomes busy again because this is a new toy and it looks beautiful than the previous toy. And it gets engaged for some time. But afterwards, it throws away that toy also. Again, starts crying, asking mother, you take me into your lap. I am not happy with this toy. And again, one more toy mother gives. As time comes, the child will throw away. It doesn't even look at the toy. Then cries and cries and cries. Then the mother understands that I can't actually deceive my child with the toys anymore. The baby wants me to take it into my lap. And so mother takes the baby into her lap. Same thing. If you apply this, God actually wants to make engaged us with this world. So he is creating new things, all the new technologies, all whatever the comfort that we are creating. They're all kind of toys which actually God is devising. Basically, we think we are devising. Unless God says tatastu, you won't be able to create anything. The Maya actually asking us to design, and when we design it, and we get enslaved by the same thing that we invent, in fact. Okay, her intention is that nobody should look for me, nobody should try for me. So they are happy with the world. As long as they are happy with the world, let them be happy, my children. When you say that this world is hollow and there is no true happiness here, and that higher urge for truth and for consciousness and for God arises in you, and slowly you develop some distaste for the things of the world. And the longing for God becomes stronger and stronger by the day, and one day you'll become Buddha. We are all tomorrow's Buddha. We have to attain to that Buddhahood. Just a matter of time. The difference between human being and human being, what Swami says, is a degree of manifestation of divinity. Somebody is manifesting little higher divinity, somebody is less. We worship people like Buddha because they had manifested divinity to the highest degree. We are all tomorrow's Buddha. It will happen. If not in this birth, some other birth, it has to happen. The life is a continuity. Death is only a karma. We know it. But again, our philosophers have said, human birth is a rare gift of God. You have acquired it, you have won it. So, okay, so many births you had undergone, and now you have got this precious human birth. It's a gift from God. And make good use of it. That's what they say. Use it wisely. Don't invest all your time and energy only for worldly pursuits. Because they are not going to give you the real fulfillment. Definitely not. It's not there at all. That's why it's Maya. So, though people have this understanding, definitely, whether they are householders or monastics, they will long for God. They will take a few steps towards God consciously. Sri Ramakrishna says in this Kali Yuga, if you take one step towards God, God will take 10 steps towards you. That is the advantage of the times that we are in. Because God knows that we have so many responsibilities to perform. And it's not easy to look for Him and to travel towards Him, to take even one step towards Him. But you have the longing, and in spite of all the worldly responsibility that you have, you're making some attempt to reach God. And you take actually one step towards Him, and He will take 10 steps towards you. So His grace is always flowing only. Okay, this wind of God's grace is always flowing. Only we have to unfurl, sail of our boat, and then we take advantage of that wind, and then we'll attain to our Godhood. We'll win the grace of God. Right, Himam. Next question.
Next question is, Swamiji, how to meditate in a way to master attention and focus, not only during meditation, after the meditation also.
Yeah, thanks to our modern inventions, thanks to this YouTube and other inventions, today human attention span has come down significantly. So this focus, one-pointedness of mind and concentration have become, the concentration levels of human beings have plummeted to such low levels that has never happened in human history. We know that we all have evolved from monkey and chimpanzees, and we are actually, sometimes it makes me feel that are we going back and becoming as restless as a monkey? The attention span has significantly come down. The reason is there are so many distractions. There is this information overload on every brain. So much of content consumption is happening, and we are not able to, process that. So much we consume. And Swami said, Vivekananda, education is not the amount of information that's put in your brain and runs right there undigested all your life. Today, our education systems have become like that: information, information, information. The books are becoming bulkier and bulkier, bulkier by the day. So that I prefer to call it brain taxing education. The books have become so bulky and voluminous, and so much of information you have to load into your brain and appear for exam after exam, from almost LKG to PG. And obviously, it's a brain taxing education. Albert Einstein said that 75% of the natural intelligence of the human being is getting destroyed in the very process of education itself, he says. So Swami Vivekananda said the same thing. Education is not the amount of information. So brain taxing education, brain gets tired. And of course, the distractions are so many. That's why concentration has to be practiced. Swami said beautifully, Vivekananda, what is the difference between an animal and human being? Human being has more concentration, more power of concentration. Animals, they don't have that much of power of concentration. And if they had, they would have dominated us for sure. We are able to dominate the animal world because of higher degree of concentration that we have. Again, what is the difference between one human being and another human being? Difference is only in the degree of concentration. See, we all actually come with certain degree of concentration, certain attention, because certain one-pointedness of mind by previous birth. We bring that definitely into this world. Our education systems, the education that we do should help us to sharpen our focus further. The goal of education is concentration of mind, not collection of facts, Swami said. But we don't teach how to concentrate the mind, how to achieve that one-pointedness of mind. Of course, when we are vidyarthis, okay, that idea of entertaining ourselves should not be there. We'll have little, actually. We watch a movie, we'll go to a restaurant now and then to enjoy good food, okay. But we should not get addicted to such an extent that they will have complete sway on us. This stage in life is meant for acquisition of knowledge alone. In olden times, the Gurukulas, they used to establish in forest. Why? In forest, there is little distraction. Okay? Nothing distracts your attention. Whether to attain Brahmajnana, you need one-pointedness of mind. They would establish Gurukulas away from Janavasas, away from societies, away from villages and towns and cities. So that absolutely no distraction is there. And the Guru will help the child attain the highest degree of concentration, one-pointedness, with which he would crack, he will penetrate through the veil of Maya and get to the consciousness beyond the veil of Maya. And he will make him a Brahmajnani. The first instruction that used to be given is this, that Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. One statement, that everything that you look into this world is Brahman. There's nothing other than God, there's nothing other than Brahman. The disciple would ask the Guru, but I see diversity, I see duality, I see differentiation, I see multiple names and forms everywhere. And you say everything is Brahman. How is that? The Guru, he will ask. Then the Guru asks him, you meditate. Go deep into yourself. Go deep into yourself. Drop the desire and just see. And then he would experience God one day. So that was the kind of education that was available in those days. Paravidya said that was Paravidya. And after making the child Brahmavidya, then, making both ends meet. That's a small goal. You acquire a little skill and then actually for survival, bodily survival. But today actually this survival takes the precedence, and that higher pursuit, higher purpose of life, you have totally missed it. So concentration, you have to reduce, the distractions. A little dispassion is required. Dispassion means detachment and dispassion are great words in Vedanta. So dispassion means little vairagya for the worldly things. Instead of getting addicted, today we are not enjoying the things of the world consciously. We are so addicted to the thing. Unconsciously we are enjoying. We are doing the same thing again and again, mechanically. Because you are human beings, we are. Beings means you do everything consciously. You have done something, hoping to, you have gone to a cinema, you have watched a movie. And before watching the movie, how much of joy you expected or anticipated? And how much did you get from it? So you get disappointed. You expected more, but you have not got what you expected. Second time also you are doing the same thing. Third time also you are doing the same thing, unconsciously and mechanically. You just reflect for a while. How much joy I expected from this by doing this action? How much I got it? There's a huge difference. Again and again you are being cheated. But you do it mechanically. What else I am to do to make myself happy? You are not getting the happiness that you are trying to, seek and get it. So why you are not getting? It's not there out there in the first place. So it is concentration that makes us happy. Why cinema halls, what they say, they put off all the lights. Why? Because you're just glued to the screen. Because you're forced to glue yourself to the screen because there's no other option. There nothing else can be seen because it's all dark. Only screen is visible. It's not the movie that is making us happy. It is our attention and concentration that is making us happy. Because you're forced to acquire the concentration there. Because they make the room completely dark, cinema hall, and you're forced to look at the screen. So that means what? When you have higher degree of concentration, when the mind is not distracted, okay, you're more happy, you're joyful. So attaining this highest degree of samadhi or ecstasy, which Sri Ramakrishna had attained, Vivekananda had attained, what is that? Highest degree of concentration, nothing but that. That's why Swami says the goal of education is concentration of mind. Practice concentration, practice concentration. Then acquisition of skills will become easier. It's a small goal. If you grow in concentration further and further and further, and then actually when the mind is completely dropped, 100%, the object of meditation and the mind become one and the same. If Sri Ramakrishna could attain to that state of higher consciousness because he loved the Divine Mother so much that she occupied his mind completely. So his mind and the object of meditation became one. And that is the state we acquire to attain consciousness. That the universe, the diverse universe, the world of name and form, the heterogeneous universe disappears for you, and that homogeneous consciousness you experience. That is the highest state of life that is possible to every one of us, fulfillment. So when you understand the goal of concentration, obviously, daily try to do a little meditation, because we are taking a lot of load into the brain, and we are not able to process it to our advantage. That's why repetition of God's name is a must. Prayer, repetition of God's name, little meditation and paropakara also, selfless service. You may ask me, actually, we are all young people, we are still dependent on our parents. How can we help the world? See, the moment we say we use the word help, the people get this idea that you have to give money, you have to distribute things like clothes, books, and other material things. No, not at all. We all know that there is tremendous suffering in the world, and how you can alleviate the suffering of others, how you can bring some ease into their lives, how can you add some happiness into their lives. You just pray to God. We are too small to help the world. We know that we all have our responsibilities, our worries, our anxieties. We are too small to help the world. So what you should be doing is you try to invoke the blessings of the Lord upon all the mankind. Every day we can say this prayer. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all in the world be happy. Whether because we have prayed, you have said an unselfish prayer for the welfare of the world, the Lord will help millions and millions of people because of your prayer. The other person who has been benefited, because of God's grace, he might even not know that it's your initiative, that it's your effort, your prayer that was answered by God, and he has got that succor, that solace. Swamiji says, expansion is life, contraction is death. Lead an unselfish life. Can we say this prayer? We will be praying for our own being. We'll be praying for our immediate family members. Can we say this prayer like Loka Samasta Sukhina Bhavantu from the bottom of our heart? So we say prayers, we do say. In schools, many schools they say it. But just like a parrot, we repeat it. Loka Samasta Sukhina Bhavantu. So when you say this prayer, you should mean by that. It should be from the bottom of your heart. Your prayer will come from the bottom of your heart only when you're touched by the suffering and pain in the world. Every human being can do that. You just imagine, we can make this world a heaven, provided all the people in the world, all the humanity starts saying that prayer. If you learn to pray for each other, then the Lord actually will shower His infinite blessings upon every human being and bring the joy into our lives. So to win His grace and to, win His compassion, that we should be doing this prayer. So as young people, you can say this and you can help yourself also. Swami says the best way to help oneself is to help others. How we can help others? Through God only, through prayer. We'll be invoking the blessings of the Lord upon all, as many people as possible. And that's how actually we can expand our consciousness, because we are, reducing our selfishness. The more unselfish you become, easier it is for you to come closer to God. As you come closer to God, proportionately your joy also, happiness also will grow. So they are subjective sciences. Today we miss them. And today we understand everything as religion. The religiosity is there, but spirituality, not many people have it. Religiosity, going to temple, doing a ritual, all this is there, making a pilgrimage. And there is a corruption all around. Personal life and your religious life, they don't match at all. So that is huge. India has become, one of the most corrupt countries in the world. Why all these things? Nothing to do with your character. Swami says the religions of the world have become lifeless mockeries. What we want is character. So you are pious and good only in temple. But when you come into this world again, back at home and in your workplace, are you really pious? But you exploit the people through corruption actually. You don't have any fellow feeling, you don't have any concern. What kind of religion you are practicing then? Swami, that's why he says lifeless mockeries, the religions of the world have become. What we need is character. They should go together. When spirituality comes, this Advaita comes. If I actually exploit another human being, actually, I am exploiting myself only. I am hindering my own growth, spiritual growth. So we all have to go towards God, but actually by harming his interest, by exploiting him, by doing violence with him, any kind of violence, actually I'm contracting myself. Somebody says expansion is like you are going away from God and more into Maya. That means your suffering will increase proportionately. So this is one thing that's very important. Personal life, character, and I see that is religion, according to Vivekananda. He says beautifully, character alone, neither name and fame, nor much learning, nor money pays. It is character that cleaves its way through adamantine walls of difficulties, Vivekananda said. So he says education and character should go together. They're synonymous there in words. Our religiosity is there, but spirituality, we have to graduate to the next step. Swamiji said that it's better to be born in a church but not to die there. So it's a kindergarten religion that what we are practicing is going to a temple and doing a ritual, bit out of, what you call fear, insecurity, or, to make your other worldly desires satisfied. You go and pray to God. But that is not true religion. Okay, it's a kindergarten religion, prathamika, primary. Then you have to grow to the next step, right? To evolve further and come to the little spirituality. When spirituality comes, character comes. When there is character, then there will be focus, there will be concentration. Then acquisition of skills become easy. So character has to be established through 1,000 stumbles, particularly in this age. So many distractions outside world. all temptations actually. To overcome them, you need a lot of strength. For that, you have to pray to God. So Lord, help me to overcome these temptations. You know, it's not possible. Overnight, it may not be possible. One day, it's not going to be possible. You constantly hold on to God, get hooked to God through prayer, and then you will win, what definitely. Because God is actually ready to help us, but no child, no child of me actually prays to me and wants to get established in good character. They are only thinking material things, but they are not seeking the subjective sciences. So when we ask God, actually, He will give us. You know, in Bible, there is a statement: ask and it must be given, knock and it must be open. So God is ready to give. Through prayer, through repetition of His name, we can win the grace of the Lord, and then we can empower ourselves, then we can have more concentration. Swamiji says it's easy to concentrate a pure mind. How to make ourselves pure? Repeat God's name. Simple. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said. In the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, if you just see, only one instruction is given across. Kali Yuga Nama Sankirtana, repetition of God's name. Repetition of God's name is not just going into the street and doing, dancing and then you're doing it for the sake of show, for the sake of the society. When you are alone, when you are with yourself, wholeheartedly, you pray to God and repeat His name with power and love, and you just see miracles will happen. Purity will come into the mind. When you have purity, concentration will be there. When you have concentration, acquisition skills become easier. Thank you.
Next question. What is the difference between emotions and real Vyakulata?
The Vyakulata is a Sanskrit word, longing for God. But real devotion is different from sentimentalism. Okay, that we have to understand. Today, in the name of devotion, a lot of sentimentalism passes in the name of devotion. There are two different things. We have to have true devotion for God. True devotion means loving God unconditionally. We don't make any conditions there. So what else you love? Because He has created this much of universe, this much of world. Who else actually is worthy of our love than God? Because even all the relationships that you have good friends, you have good family members, understanding family members, father and mother who love you, who take care of you. Who has provided you that kind of father and mother? Who has provided you that kind of friends? God. So you try to love these people in and through God. That's all we need to do. It's God who has provided them. It's God who is manifesting through them. God is there already in them. So God is there everywhere. That's what Swami says in his practical Vedanta lectures. The difference is only in the degree of manifestation. From an ant to Brahma, everything is actually pervaded with God only. It is He who multiplied Himself. This variety is only a delusion. Or Advaita says that the world of name and form, the world of phenomena, is only illusion. It's only delusion, the projection of the mind. The reality is God and consciousness alone. So today, actually, what people think as bhakti is only sentimentalism. They are not able to grow to the next step of true devotion. True devotion to God means loving God unconditionally. Everything that you take from this world, take it actually in and through God. It's God who is giving me. It's God who is providing me. It's the Lord. So He ought to be loved. He ought to be worshipped because He has provided me this much. So most of us are not happy with what we have. We are kind of, dissatisfaction with what we have. Just look around the world. There are so many who are less privileged than you. There are people who are more unfortunate than. They don't have any basic things. You are much, much better than so many millions and millions of people in the world. And be thankful and grateful for what you have been given. And the Lord will give you more. God likes those people who are happy. God likes those people who are joyful in themselves. You can ask, you have the right as a child of God. He is infinite. God, our Father, has infinite powers. As a child of Father, we have the right on His property. We may ask for it. But what pleases the Lord, what pleases our Father immensely is this: whether my child loves me or not. We just give your love, little love that we have in our heart for God, and miracles will happen. Yes. So sentimentalism is not devotion. Unfortunately, people think that they are devotees of the Lord, but it's like they have to grow further. Right. And
Next question is, what should one do? What practices should one do before marriage and to lead an ideal samsara life?
you young people, I have a request to all of you. This competition is being conducted by this Aaryajanani trust. This trust actually we have started to give practical shape to some of the ideas of Swami Vivekananda. The philosophy of Swami Vivekananda. Swami said that no, a child who is born of quoting Manu, a child who is born of prayer is an Aryan, otherwise a non-Aryan. And he also makes a profound statement, again quoting Manu, man is born God or born demon. And he said that my father and mother, if I became successful in life, that was not because of me. My Swami said, it was because of my father and mother. They had prayed to the Lord for 2 years before they begot me. Before they brought me into this world, they had prayed to the Lord for 2 years. To such prayer, they had brought me into the world. It's not that through schooling and through reading a few books, Vivekananda became a prophet. Vivekananda acquired that sattva. Vivekananda acquired that spiritual knowledge. By birth, he got it. How? Who worked for it? His mother, he said. Primarily, credit he gives to mother. We had such exceptional mothers, like Vijabai and this Bhuvaneshwari Devi. We just go into Puranas, the Madalas are great stories, inspiring stories, in fact. But today, particularly, young women, they are also educating themselves and they are going to, jobs and they're too busy. And now they have to play this role of, they have to earn money and also they have to play this role of a mother. And it's kind of multitasking. They're struggling a lot, actually, particularly the women of the present day. And they are showing that dexterity is really great. But they need support from the society, particularly from husband, particularly from other family members, particularly when they are in the family way. When the mother is bearing, expectant mother is bearing a child, and that time they need to get the maximum support from the family and the society so that she can bring a healthy life into the world. And this intention of this organization, this trust, Aaryajanani Trust, is to generate awareness among young people, okay, young boys and girls, that tomorrow they are going to, going for marriage life. See, today in our colleges, what we are taught is only this: livelihood, livelihood, livelihood. What is marriage? What is parenting? What it is to become a parent? Nothing. So nothing of that. Life sciences are not taught at all. See, marriage is basically a great sacrifice. You need to understand that. Sannyasa is not such a great sacrifice, but marriage, when you say that I am going to marry, you are saying that I am going to make a great sacrifice. What is that sacrifice? The sacrifice of our ego, little individuality. And we fear to drop it because we think that we die, we drop our individuality. No. That is again the mischief that mind plays with us. When you drop your individuality, you will attain to your cosmic individuality. You will become the infinite, you will become the almighty. But mind somehow makes makes us feel that you're annihilating yourself, you're dying, you're annihilating your being itself. Not at all. A lot of people have said, why actually we don't prefer? See, it's not somebody else can do this for you. You have to drop your individuality on your own, consciously. What happens if you drop this limited only individuality attached to this body and these material things? You will expand into that infinite individuality. We all want to become something in life. Try to become nothing. For example, yesterday I was giving a talk and I was saying, giving the example of Buddha. Buddha's father Shuddhodana wanted his son, to take the mantle from him. Wanted his son, to sit on the throne. Buddha, what he did, he took up that begging bowl and left the palace into the forest. Shuddhodana did not understand what his child was up to. So Buddha basically understood from within that, okay, the real happiness can be had only when this limited individuality is dropped, when this little I is dropped. And he understood that he wanted to do sadhana and tapas to drop that completely so that he would expand himself into the infinity, he would attain to that state of nirvana. And it's a subjective understanding. His father's understanding is that he should be sitting on the throne and he should try to expand the kingdom, material kingdom. Then he will be deriving some joy through that. But Buddha knows that actually. Do what you may in this world, you will never be able to increase your happiness through that way. If you really want to attain to fulfillment, you have to drop this permanent, limited, puny individuality based on this body and mind. And so he succeeded in that and he attained to that state of nirvana. So marriage basically is a great sacrifice. So why should I sacrifice my individuality when my partner is not willing? He or she is trying to preserve his or her individuality, and you're asking me to drop that individual. I would say here that The person who has the greater strength, the maximum strength, he or she alone will be able to drop the individuality, not the weaklings. So both husband and wife should compete in dropping their individuality. That means you have to make a sacrifice of your life for the sake of your partner. And you must love your partner unconditionally. That requires great strength. That's the greatest manifestation of strength. I won't expect anything from him or her. I will love him or her unconditionally. And you keep putting your strength to a test constantly, constantly, constantly. Once you are completely established in that, you have attained to your divinity, you are attained to your ultimate reality. There's nothing more to attain. You have become complete and purna. Earlier days, they used to compete like that. That's why beautiful relationships they could create, beautiful parents they used to become, where they would sacrifice each other for the one for the sake of the other. But today that is missing. We want to, exert ourselves all the time. Swami says both the partner wants to exert constantly in every small situation also. They're not actually even wants to give little space to the other person, thinking that if I give little space, he might take more space or she might take more space. As a self-assertion. No, that is not the display of strength. Swami says the eternal law is self-sacrifice, not self-assertion. Vivekananda statement this is. The eternal law is self-sacrifice, not self-assertion. The more actually you sacrifice your individuality for the sake of your partner, to that extent you grow in spirituality and strength and you will come closer to God. When you keep emptying yourself and God's grace will flow upon you. But we forget this secret and we don't understand what marriage is of. Obviously, it becomes an accident. In most of the cases, it's become a kind of accident. You just see your role model life, Sita, Savitri, Damayanti. You just see what kind of understanding the wonderful, families had, your husband and wife. They're the role models. No other culture in the world has such exemplary role models as we have in India. But somehow we miss them, we don't read them, we don't study them, we don't get time. And so the marriage is basically a sacrifice. And the goal of this trust is to make you understand that what is marriage, what marriage is. And the second step is you'll become parents. You'll become mother and father. What it is to become a parent, good parent. You see, in our culture, we know that actually a child must be prayed for. Somehow we miss it because we are leading very busy lives today. We don't get the quality time for it, but we have to make time. Otherwise, actually, today's children are being born with congenital disorders, various kinds and various degrees and levels of autism. All that is happening because of stress to mother. The pregnancy journey has not been a joyful journey. And once a child is born with some congenital disorder, you know it's a lifetime burden in the sense that you both have to give your full attention to the child to bring up the child. A healthy child is your right. For that, what you need to do, you're tomorrow's parent. What you need to do, just we want to alert. You have to make a little sacrifice at the point of time. Yes, mother, maybe you may have to take some holiday. That may actually, little short-term setback to your career, but you have to make that sacrifice. It's worth doing that sacrifice. You want to tell all the people here. Then when you really focus on it, you nurture the child consciously. You lead a spiritual life. You pray to God, you repeat God's name, and the child is growing in your particular mother. And then ultimately, when you have a great child, he is born with sattva, is godlike child, you don't have to do anything now. You don't have to search a good school for the child. The child is born with sattva, the child is born God. And whatever the school, put the child in a forest actually. Put the child in most unfavorable circumstances. Still he will become she will become a blessing to the world. That time actually is very, very crucial. If you miss that time, afterwards you can't really, you do what you may, you won't be able to get what you really long for, hope for. We have a number of examples. Prahlada was born. He was a Rakshasa. Hiranyakashipu and Lilavati was born. If you go by the theory of genes, parents' genes should come to the child because parents are Rakshasa and Rakshasi, and he also should have been a Rakshasa. But the greatest devotee of the Lord was born in a family whose genes were only Rakshasa. And you just see Gandhari was so pious, who blindfolded herself for the rest of life, to help serve her husband Dhritarashtra, a woman who could even curse Krishna. A woman of such great sacrifice, she had evil children, Kauravas. What happened? Where the things went wrong for her? Because when she was carrying these Kauravas in her womb, she felt jealous of Kunti and she hid upon her womb. And because of the intense jealousy she had experienced towards Kunti, and jealousy became the Swabhava, nature of her children. It was not the mistake of Duryodhana at all. It was the mistake of Kauravas. It was a mistake of Gandhari. She did not understand the consequences of her entertaining in negative emotion like jealousy at that point of time. You see, subsequently, nothing could be done. Krishna, how much he tried to cajole Duryodhana, how much he pleaded with him, at least give 5 villages and stop the war. The Lord did not succeed. What is the message that is coming to us from the Mahabharata? The Lord is saying that prenatal influence is so powerful that even I cannot undo it. So be careful, be alert. You don't have to read the entire Mahabharata with 1 lakh slokas. The message is very clear and loud. The Lord is saying the prenatal influence is powerful, so powerful that even I cannot undo it. You just see the example of Duryodhana. I tried to reason with him. I requested him. I pleaded with him, but he did not agree. You spoiled him, actually, Gandhar. So that is the level of impact, the prenatal influence will be to that degree. Today, how unconsciously we do this? Mechanically, unconsciously, we are bringing the children into the world. That should not happen. We are busy, definitely, I understand it. But we have to choose our priorities, right? Your child is your asset. Your child is your sampada. Your child is your God. The child, for the sake of the child, only parents live. And we think actually parenting happens after the birth of the child. No, 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 not at all. From preconception to conception and then the actual child when it's growing in the womb of the mother. These are all great signs. There's no sentimentalism here. They're not actually, superstitions or the Puranas, they have just given it like that. There's a great science. Today, modern science corroborating that. Once after the, invention, this advent of this ultrasound, how the child responds to different impulses of mother. There's a negative thought in the mother that percolates to the child. There's a negative emotion in the mother that percolates to the child. It will be the child forever, for the rest of its life. So mothers mother need to be extremely careful what kind of life she should be leading at the point of time when the child is growing in the womb. See, all this science we miss today. Because we are so busy with our engineering or medical, all this material things, science, so much of information overload, so many new inventions, all that. The real science we actually miss because of the Maya. So we thought actually doing, at least a small attempt we want to make to undo things and to help the people, particularly when in the last 10 years, if you just see the number of children being born with autism, especially congenital disorders, it's actually very high. Why that is happening? Because of unconscious pregnancy, because the pregnancy journey has not been smooth with the mother and the consequences are here. The life growing in the womb of the mother is a very tender life, very soft and very tender, and mothers need to be extremely careful, and the rest of the family has a responsibility to ensure that an expectant mother actually has that peace and that quality of life at that point of time. Also, society has a responsibility. So just to generate awareness, we started this Aaryajanani, and the program has been going on wonderfully well. And for the last 7 years, okay, when we see the children who have come into the world through conscious parenting, they are doing exceedingly well, and the parents are really proud of their children. And we want to spread it across, and we want to alert the people who are becoming fathers and mothers tomorrow with other knowledge actually we get. Some survival happens, everybody will be doing some work, some job, some money we make, maybe somebody making a little more money, somebody little less. That's not important. You have great responsibility. As a generation, you have to have this goal. The next generation that we are going to bring into this world should be better than what we are. That longing, that aspiration, we all must have. You all must have. And how you will be able to fulfill that aspiration and longing? By understanding the science of making a child. And that's why we have started this Aaryajanani, and this competition is also for that. You will understand Vivekananda, a little spiritual thought entered into you, and then you will become responsible parents, and you're helping yourself and also you're helping the society and the country. Yeah, Himant.
Maharaj, there are many questions. So should we take up one or two more, or?
Yes, I'm okay. But if they are okay, the young people, they are busy. It's okay.
So one question maybe we'll continue with.
Right.
So the question is, how can we remember our higher goal every day? What is the spiritual practice that we have to do to remember it throughout the day?
Yeah, I already told the simplest, Sri Ramakrishna said again and again, the simplest spiritual practice that we can do in the times that we live in this age, we are all extremely busy. We won't be able to take time off to meditate, okay, to sit with ourselves, hours together. And I know that Karma Yoga is also not that easy. Without expecting the fruits of action, we won't be able to engage in action. When we are engaged in some action, we are expecting something. We want the outcome of it, we want the result of it. We are not that detached in our actions again, but we have to practice that. Of course, Karma Yoga is also important, as Swami says. The easiest practice is repetition of God's name with little bhava and love. Who is that God? That God is the creator of this universe. He is all-pervading spirit. He is actually guiding the destinies of all the beings. That much of understanding I have. And I don't know the real form and svabhava. What I do is, I give a name to him. Okay? Just as when father gives a name to the child. Child doesn't have a name. It's the father who gives the name first and then starts calling the child by its name and the child responds. The same way, God, we give a name and we repeat that name, and God understands that my child is calling me. And that with bhava, little love, if you do, that's good enough sadhana for this age. And that repetition you can do anytime. You can do when you are in a washroom also. Nothing, anytime. You're taking food and every time you can do. Nothing wrong, saying God's name. In between work, you intensely focus on your work, forget, you forgot God. Okay. In the gap that you have between work and work, just this is the simplest sadhana, we miss it. The power of divine name we don't know. The Ramakrishna gives so many examples. Just a small spark of fire is sufficient, to burn a huge bale of cotton. So, Papa, bad action that we performed, sinful action that we performed, all that load is upon us, let us say. So many births we have undergone. All that can be burned in one go by repeating God's name, he says. It is so powerful, it is so potent, it is so efficacious. But the faith is not there. That's why we don't repeat. That's the simplest sadhana I advocate and advise. It's just I'm quoting Sri Ramakrishna. They are not my words. Yeah.
Another person, the question is, should I eat veg or non-veg? There are nutritious and medical values to eating non-veg. So what should I follow?
Today, there are organizations, who strongly advocate vegetarianism for people who are practicing the spiritual path. And yes, if you are on the spiritual path, you need to eat sattvika food. Generally, non-vegetarian food is considered tamasic food in our culture. Because a killing of a life is involved. Because you are expanding to Sadvaita, all life is important for you. So by eating non-vegetarian food, indirectly you have contributed to animal or being. And because there's a tamasic action, that's the one kind of understanding. But you don't have to be a vegetarian fanatic. There are a good number of vegetarian fanatics that I see today. They make the food the be all or end all of religion, which is wrong. Would play some role on our mind, but don't make it be all end all of religion. If you want to eat non-vegetarian, you eat it. Because you are taking a piece of meat doesn't mean that actually you're non-spiritual completely, and the person who is eating only vegetarian food has become totally spiritual. The vegetarian guy has so many other evils. He's very egoistic, very proud. There are so many things. Okay. He becomes angry at the drop of a hat. So many such people I have seen. I have seen people who are non-vegetarians. Very calm, absolutely no ego, no anger in them. But the other person, vegetarian man, has all this. So food plays some role. But I don't know, only to that extent. You don't make it be all or end of life. And they're only day and night busy, only promoting this and talking about this. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said, see, you eat only greens, but you don't take up God's name. There is somebody who eats pork, but he takes God's name. He is better say, Swami Sri Ramakrishna says. All our incarnations. Don't think that I'm advocating, non-vegetarianism, but I'm just saying that food is not that important. Swamiji said, Vivekananda, when you grow in sattva, your taste for non-vegetarianism automatically drops off. It has to happen in a gradual way. But so before that, even if you eat, and don't think that you lose all spirituality because you're a non-vegetarian. Our incarnations, for example, Rama, Buddha, Christ, they all had eaten. In Buddha, he got in his Bhiksha Patra in bowl pork that day. That was actually contaminated, in fact, infected food. And so he ate that and he had dysentery and passed away. I'm saying that food is okay. It has some role in our spiritual path, but don't think that actually it has such an influence upon your mind. Okay? And that because if you eat vegetarian food, then you become sattvic overnight. And if you eat non-vegetarian food. But recently I conducted a kind of, I just did a search for my articles in our Telugu magazine. So vegetarian or non-vegetarian. India is the least non-vegetarian consuming country in the world. The per capita consumption of this country is 5 kg per individual. Whereas average per capita consumption in countries like Australia, America, Argentina is 97, 98 kgs. We are in that way not at all a non-vegetarian country. India is the only vegetarian country, if you ask me. 5 kg is the average consumption per individual in this country, whereas global average is 48 kg. By any reckoning, by any chance, we are a vegetarian country only. And today doctors are saying that the B12 vitamin deficiency for all vegetarians. They ask only thing, if you have B vitamin and B12 deficiency, are you a vegetarian? They are saying, then you have to give the supplements. So that's why we particularly in Ramakrishna Mission, what vegetarian and non-vegetarian, that's not that important. You eat food of your choice, but as Swami says, when you come to spiritual path and when you are doing more sadhana, and vegetarian food helps you more, and automatically your taste and longing for non-vegetarian food also drops off. That happens in a gradual way. Before that, there's no point in making this food be all or end all of spiritual life of a human being.
So I think we will pause it here, Maharaj. So there are more questions, but the forms of questions are different. Whatever points you have shared so far, if we carefully think on that, I think the questions are getting connected to whatever has been answered so far.
You take the opinion and advice of the today's participant, Himant, if they want to speak and if you want to ask more questions, if you want to have more interaction, and we can have one more meeting next Saturday, Sunday, or coming Sunday. Oh, we will try to, we'll have kind of platform for discussion. I have not heard any one of them. You provide some platform. If they want to speak for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, for another 15, 20 minutes, time is there. They're free. If anybody wants to say anything, not just asking questions to chat box. Of course, we have seen you're all very intelligent and bright people in the competition. We have seen the level of understanding. You're all studious youth. We are really surprised that such sincere and studious, great brains you all are. We have seen. You are the asset of this nation. Once you become spiritual and once you read Vivekananda, you'll become a great asset, for sure, both the society for the country and also to your family. So keep exploring Swami Vivekananda more and more. Your life will become a blessed life. If somebody wants to speak 2 sentences, please allow them in one.
Yes, Maharaj. I think we have allowed the participants. If anybody is interested, they can unmute and speak.
Namaste, Maharaj.
Himanshu, please go ahead. I think we can hear you.
Namaste, am I audible?
Maharaj, you are on mute.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Maharaji, namaste. I just wanted to ask, lot of us, especially me, I don't know about others, when we come up to this idea of spirituality, we kind of take it like an entertainment. For some time, I sit and I remember God's name, it all feels good. And after a while, I don't know, I'm sorry to say, but it somewhat becomes boring. And then you get back into, I don't know, it feels more interesting to watch a movie than sit and take God's name. I try to keep constantly pushing myself into it, but I want to know how can I be day in and day out into God's name, provided doing my college work also. And I also heard that if I, constantly continuously be focused on my college work, and at the end of the day surrender it to God as sadhana to him, would that also do, Maharaji?
Yeah. Yes, very good question. It happens even with us. We have given up everything and wants to get immersed in the thought of God, in the thought of meditation all the time. But still, it happens with us. We feel like watching cricket, watching like badminton, watching feel like reading newspaper in between. So as you say that, you get bored with sadhana. So because of these tendencies or samskaras that we have in our mind, worldly samskaras we call it. So we are now actually filling our mind with the spiritual samskara also. Over a period of time, we keep practicing, the percentage of worldly samskara will come down and the percentage of spiritual samskara will increase. And that's the point of time when we'll be able to love God more intensely. Right? Overnight, it doesn't happen. So spiritual life actually in that way, is a long drawn process. We have to have patience. Definitely you are progressing spiritually. But you think that I am not progressing spiritually, I am not able to do much in spiritual front, but you are doing. You are growing spiritually. It's a long journey in the sense that it takes time, that's all. The Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. He created this powerful Maya, God to be blamed, right? He has created this Maya and asking us to look at him. How that is possible? Who asked you to create Maya with that kind of power? He says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. What are many, many births? Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. A man of discretion actually proposes me and looks for me and looks at me. So Samahatma Sudurlabha, but such a great person is rare indeed, O Arjuna is telling. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. What kind of understanding he will carry? Whole world is pervaded by God. He is there in every being, he is being everything. So you keep superimposing God on everything that you see over a period of time. That's called deification, deifying the world. So you are superimposing God on everything. Suppose your family members you are interacting, father and mother, siblings, they are forms of God. God manifesting through them. They are not human beings hereafter to you. They are emblems of the divine, they are forms of God. You are constantly, you are also God, you are interacting with God. In fact, the world is God interacting with God basically, but through Maya, through this little individuality, through this little ego. If that is dropped, actually, everything becomes one, homogeneous. God cannot have the play, right? So that is the reason this play continues. Okay, you have to transform, transmute this tamasika, rajasika, ahankara into sattvika ahankara. How to do that? Ramakrishna Paramahamsa would say, consider yourself as an instrument in the hands of the divine. You do your college work, but you are an instrument in the hands of the Lord. The Lord has given you that work. You are doing that work for Him, not for you as such. That's what you are an instrument. You're a servant of God all the time. So just bring God through everything in whatever you do. Slowly, slowly, this little, Rajasika Ahankara that I am doing and I am the Karta, and goes away. And I am the servant of God. It's He who is doing through me. When this little individuality is completely annihilated, that's the point of time you will experience this cosmic individuality or nirvana or, moksha. And that's, of course, a state which cannot be described. You have to get the experience, that's all. It's happening. You're progressing on spiritual path, Himanshu. Thank you. You have the longing. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Maharajji.
Yeah, Ma, please tell.
Yeah, I want to ask that in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5th, chapter 26, it is told that we should not kill an animals and eat them, otherwise we go to hell. So, how?
Yeah. Yes, it's a very important question. So, okay. See, Swami Vivekananda's observations on this I am trying to give you. Swami says this vegetarianism, we have adopted from Buddhism. The Vaishnava sect particularly, in those days, today in India, the 800 years we actually were a slave nation. 600 years Muslims ruled, and 200 years nearly the English people ruled, British. Okay, basically they all are beef eaters, right? A country which is endowed with so much of spirituality, politically was subjugated for nearly a millennia. And why did this happen? According to Swami Vivekananda, because after Buddha, the king himself got transformed into a follower of Buddha. Since Buddha advocated complete vegetarianism, non-violence, he said, and the entire king and also all the soldiers, they became vegetarians. What happened? It's not that the conquerors, invaders came in big armies, they came. Small hordes they came in. And they conquered such a vast and mighty nation like India. And for 800 years, 1000 years, they ruled us. And Vivekananda said that, see, people have to evolve gradually. Okay? When that time, we need foot soldiers. Somebody to wield the sword. Okay? Somebody to wield the sword, somebody to wield the spear. There was nobody to wield the sword and spear, and that led Buddha's, kind of non-vegetarian, because king had embraced it, and because he liked it, he loved the concept and he enforced across it. And the people who are doing this manual work, people who are soldiers actually, who had to wield the sword and a spear, that masculine nature completely went down. Physically, they became weak and emaciated by using only vegetables. And the conquerors actually, they were all meat eaters. They were so aggressive, and their physical strength was so strong, and actually we could not stand in front of them. So that's why it went to Buddha to save few goats. He pushed a vast and mighty country like India into a kind of 1,000 years of slavery. It was not Buddha's fault, definitely. Ashoka, who had embraced Buddhism, and because his personal taste of vegetarianism, yeah, definitely, you are a spiritual seeker, you have come to vegetarianism, fine, perfect. But those who have come to spiritual path, and as I said before, naturally the taste for vegetarianism drops away. As I've already told, so you will become conscious that if I take meat, indirectly I am responsible for the death of a being. You want to become an Advaitin. You want to see God everywhere. You want to practice the highest degree of non-violence because ahimsa paramo dharma. By eating meat, I am indirectly responsible for the killing of that particular animal. So I will desist from that. But it has to happen naturally. But today actually we have soldiers, we have sports people. You don't push them into vegetarianism, saying that you are doing a sinful act. By eating non-vegetarian, you are doing a sinful act. Who will defend your border tomorrow? With the sports people, they are all, why we are lagging behind in sports? With all other sports people in all other countries, they are all meat eaters. And many good number of our sports people, of course, majority they eat. But if you just advocate it and if you make them guilty that you are eating non-vegetarian food, okay, you are indulging in sin, they will lose their self-confidence. We will have to have the humiliation that they will not be able to win any medals for us in Olympics or in Commonwealth and Asian Games. So that's the reason actually to whom we are preaching. If you are a spiritual seeker, vegetarianism is the food for you. But you are a sports person, if you are an army man, okay, no, I don't advocate it for you. You have to defend the country, you have to have that aggression. Because otherwise uncivilized races are there other side across the border. They are amassing actually weapons. Okay? If that Kshatra Virya, if you completely remove it and want to make Sattvic everybody overnight, no, that's a mistake we should not be doing. Okay, Ma, thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Good afternoon, Maharaj. Okay. Sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Sir, I want to ask that, like, we need to see God in everyone. Yeah, like, but I'm following it. I'm trying to follow it. But while I'm doing it, I feel like the others don't follow it, right? So they intentionally or unintentionally, when they try to hurt me or others, I feel so sad or something like that. So how to deal with it, sir? And they talk about bad about others. Yesterday, I heard my friends talking really bad about others. So I felt why that nonsense and why they do that. So how to deal with that emotions?
See, when you superimpose God on every individual, what happens, Amma, actually, you will treat them kindly. You will have love for them. Okay, you will have highest respect for them. Because they are not human beings to you anymore. Emblems of God. So the way you deal with them completely changes. Since you don't show anger to them, you don't dare show anger to God. You don't get irritated with God. Because you think them are human beings, you see their weaknesses, their shortcomings. You get irritated, you become angry sometimes with them and their behavior, you get annoyed with their behavior. And actually the response also will be like that only. But since you got annoyed with them, they too get annoyed with you and then you get hurt. So the advantage of it, practical advantage I'm saying, of superimposing God on every being, that he or she is not a human being for me, he or she is only an emblem of the divine. With that kind of thought in your mind, when you interact, the quality of interaction will completely transform, will change. You will be very respectful to them. You will be very kind to them. You will love them. And obviously their response towards you also will get transformed over a period of time. They may be behaving irresponsibly towards other human beings, but when it comes to you, their interaction with you will be of a different level. And the advantage is to you, because you will grow in purity. You will grow towards truth. You will have more peace. Because mind is made up of pairs of opposites. Sometimes it's in a high mood, sometimes low mood. Sometimes you get angry, irritated, and sometimes you are peaceful. Okay, you will get caught in these bandhas, dualities. But once you have this Advaita, once you superimpose God on everything, you see, your mind actually will be able to overcome those pairs of opposites. When you pairs of opposites you conquer, you become one with the divine, you one become with the Lord. You'll be able to radiate more peace, radiate more love, and more people will get attracted towards you. Will prefer to live in your company. You'll become a holy person, obviously. Do you get the point, Amma?
Yeah, sir,
So
got
it
it.
Yeah, it's to your advantage. You will be benefited, immensely you'll be benefited. There's nothing like that, your interest will get harmed. Not at all. You will grow, when you grow in spirituality, your interest in a way better protected. But we don't have faith, that's all. You just wait, practice these truths in your life and wait for some time. Your interest will be better protected. In fact, a spiritual person will not have any personal interest of his or her own. Okay, you are going towards the Lord. You're so important for nature, for the world, and particularly for the Lord. You become the dearest child of the Lord. All are children of God. God loves all, but you will become the dearest child of God. When you see all other forms of God, you will be able to overcome the pace of opposites. The negative emotion, negative thought won't be there. You will grow in love more, and obviously, actually, you come closer to God. So your personal interest, the worldly interest, also better protected. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Namaskaram, Swamiji.
Maharaj,
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so my question is, like how to deal with procrastination. It is not like essentially procrastination, but in a given period of time, only little amount of work gets done, and we are staying continuously busy. It is not that we are not working; we are working, but uh, but there is no sharpness in the work. Like that, so the things doesn't get over, and there is lot of stress that and restlessness that things are not getting done, and this affects the sadhana also. Even the sadhana also becomes like a work. Okay, we have to allocate a time, do it. So the entire day is getting very restless. So how to be calm and do things efficiently in a given time? Swamiji.
Today we have this dichotomy, Amma. So what is the dichotomy? Only meditation is a spiritual process. Prayer is a spiritual process. Repetition of God's name is a spiritual process. Going to a temple is a spiritual process. But doing work is not a spiritual process. This is worldly. We don't have any such dichotomy. The work that you are doing is given to you by God. It's God's work you are doing. You can't afford to do it in a slipshod way. Okay, it's God who placed you there in that profession or calling or occupation that you are in. Okay, it's that work you are doing for His sake. So you will do it, you will do it with greater alertness, and you will do it more consciously, and more responsibly. Once the responsibility and awareness comes into work, greater efficiency will come, obviously. But now you have divided. This is not a spiritual process. This is worldly. It's not going to be useful to me to grow spiritually, because for the sake of livelihood, I have to do this. Okay, when you do with that, definitely interest. This is God's work I am doing. It's who put me in this occupation. Right? For His sake, just have that thought. And after doing the work, you surrender the fruit of that work to God at His feet. Yes, you just see tremendous transformation will come. Your efficiency work will grow significantly.
Yes, Swamiji, I got it. But what I'm saying is, like, even the meditation is also feeling like a work. Like, it is not coming like out of love, but it is like, okay, this is also a work. This has to be done in this time. Like, it has become like that. So, how to deal with it?
Yeah, I got it. So whatever you do, Amma, you do it with love. Okay, you must enjoy that in a sense. Meditation you are not interested in. Okay, take up God's name. That also you are not interested in. You read some scripture, some book which you like. Okay, there are multiple spiritual process. Or that you are not interested in meditation, or interested in God's name. You do some unselfish work. Little karma yoga you do. You teach some poor children, don't without taking any tuition fees kind of thing. Unselfish work, right? You help your father and mother. Any individual, bring some joy and some happiness. Karma yoga, unselfish work. You don't expect anything in return. Okay, that is also a spiritual process. So much there to do. But only thing is, we have not even got the taste of it. The taste of unselfish work. That's the reason we only theory is there. We have never put that into practice. As Swami said, Vivekananda, even the least thought of thinking good of others, brings in the kind of tremendous energy into our heart, he says. And unselfishness is more paying, but we don't have the patience to practice it. Vivekananda's language. Unselfishness is more paying, but we don't have the patience to practice it. Even from the point of view of health also. Today there is so much of psychological sickness and physiological sickness in the country because of the lack of unselfishness. That's what I suggested. You should pray for others. If you don't want to in real time, you do. If you can't do, You have to go out of your home and help somebody or do somebody. You're not interested to do that if you don't have any platform for that. If you don't find any such place where you can really, exhibit some kind of unselfishness, at least you pray to God for their welfare, I'm saying. That's also unselfish work. Not for ourselves, but we have to get a taste of it. As you do, keep engaging in that kind of unselfish activities, you get a taste for it. And afterwards, you will see the tremendous strength comes into your heart. Swami said that, the helping of others, at least thought of doing good to others, awakens the spirit within and instills in the heart the strength of a lion. Who could be a greater, whom we can, quote as a greater worker than a Buddha or Christ? Vivekananda's language is again. Because they are detached, they were unselfish, they could do that kind of work in the short span of life. They also had same kind of life, lived only like 78 years. Of course, Christ lived only for 32 years. That's the thing that we need to understand. No, there's no dichotomy that the work that you wish really, gives you taste, gives you some pleasure, some joy. You do that only. There are multiple ways. Whole day you cannot meditate, definitely, even if the time is given to you because you don't relish it. Only do 10 minutes. 10 minutes, don't force the mind beyond it. And then read some good book, scripture, and then listen to a bhakti song, devotional song for some time. And then we do little prayer or do some karma yoga, unselfish work. All these are spiritual processes. Every individual will have some liking for some processes, definitely. And that processes which are giving you some joy, take up and adopt only those processes. Okay,
Yes,
Amma?
Swamiji. Thank you.
Good morning, Maharaj. Maharaj, I don't know whether my question is getting a little peculiar or not, but my question is that it is said that before praying to God, we should first remove all the arrogance from our mind. Like I have heard stories of Ramakrishna that before meditation, you should remove his sacred trait, or the poet, as we call it in Bengali, before meditation. Like, although you don't possess such sacred traits, but often thoughts come to like others are not saying I am praying, so I should be special. This kind of small, mean thoughts come to our mind. So how to remove them before praying? Thank you, Maharaj.
What is that last question? What is how to?
And how to remove such mean and selfish thoughts from our mind? I am only praying, others are enjoying life, so I am special. Like this kind of small thoughts.
Yeah. See, this practical Vedanta, you read this practical Vedanta chapters. You know what Swami said beautifully there? Okay. There is no difference between one life form and another life form. That is the highest intellectual understanding we need to have. The difference is only in the degree of manifestation. Difference between an ant and Buddha or mollusk and Buddha is only the degree of manifestation. Today's mollusk is tomorrow's Buddha, and today's Buddha is yesterday's mollusk. He was mollusk only yesterday. From amoeba, actually, you graduated into Buddha. And today's amoeba is tomorrow's Buddha. The difference is only the degree of manifestation. That's actually the core teaching of Vivekananda in this practical Vedanta. So we have kinship, not with our fellow human beings. We have kinship with the animals also. There is God in them also. Tomorrow they will become human beings and they will grow, and one day they will attain to their Buddha perfection. We are all on this great journey of actually traveling towards the truth. The whole humanity in a mammoth procession going towards the great sea of nirvana. It's just a matter of time. So once you have this understanding, the goal of life, purpose of life, everybody is struggling according to his capacity. Today, actually, the only why prophets come, messengers of God in our midst, because to remind us that you are traveling towards the truth and travel consciously. Today we are traveling unconsciously. That's why we are, reaping this much of unhappiness and misery in life. Purpose of life is not clear. Why suffering comes to us? Okay, how to understand that suffering? So we make actually suffering because of wrong understanding. In fact, most of the times it is the blessing of the Lord. In fact, most of the times it's actually divine who is attracting you towards himself through the little suffering. But you completely misunderstood the situation and you think that God has chosen me and actually giving you more pain and suffering. So he hates me. That's the kind of conclusion people are coming. Whereas the Lord has a completely different purpose with you. He is actually handling you in a different way. He wants you to come closer to him. That's why he is giving a little more misery so that my child would turn towards him. But people are misunderstanding, and I am the only unfortunate guy. All the rest of the people in the world are fortunate. So he has not given that much of pain to them, but he has given so much of pain to me. And my life alone is like this. These are all the wrong conclusions we come. God's message we completely wrongly understand, and then we take the suffering upon ourselves. It's not that the circumstances or the world, nature is giving us that much of suffering. It is our wrong understanding and wrong perception that is giving us the suffering. So that's why these practical Vedanta lectures, Swamiji points out again and again, we are all actually trying to manifest the divinity. Let us do it consciously. So this unconscious leading lives unconsciously without being aware of the purpose of life and where lies the true happiness, why we are here. They are all existential questions. These need to be clear in you first. So the existential questions, if not today and tomorrow, you will have to answer these questions. Nature will force you to seek answers for these questions. So why you want the nature to force you again and again? Be a wise student, be a smart kid, and have the answers, and then move forward in your life. So this pettiness of mind will go away once you have this Advaita, superimposition of God and everything you see. Okay, it slips away from our mind. So today you made an attempt, and tomorrow it slips away from your mind. You have to make the attempt repeatedly. You have to bring the mind again to that understanding. Advaita, everybody with whom you are interacting is God and God and God alone. The moment you think that individual is a human being, your interaction will completely change. The God and alone. But mind doesn't take this higher idea immediately. You have to force, you have to repeatedly say to this mind, he is God only. I am interacting with God in this form. I am interacting with God in this form. Bring God every time. You just see your interactions will completely change. You'll be able to love more. Afterwards, you will get surprised. We have this much of love in me. To love these many people unconditionally. You'll be surprised. Infinite love is there in all of us, but we don't manifest that quantum of love that we have in our own being. Holy Mother Sarada Devi, the infinite, the mother of infinite love. We all have it in us, but we are yet to discover that potential. You have to manifest that, divinity. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Nam Swamiji. Okay, so
Maharaj.
Swamiji, my question is, who should consider becoming a monk? What motivated you and other monks at Ramakrishna Mutt to take this path, as it is not easy to live the usual worldly life?
See, each one will have their own story, and particularly if my personal story, if you want to listen to. My parents, in that way, nobody, my father, and they were never read scriptures. They never had the spiritual understanding to life. Little going to temple and that religiosity was there. Not to my siblings. See, when I was doing my studies, actually, our professors talked about these environmental problems. There was ozone layer depletion, desertification, soil erosion, air pollution, water pollution, and so many things, right? The ecological problems are today among us. Today we talk about climate change. It's not climate emergency, they are saying that. All these problems we had studied actually when I was doing my studies. And they only projected a bleak future for mankind. The way we are going, they said that, this every country wants to grow its GDP and wants to have more, money and more industrialization, more consumption. And naturally, we have to destroy nature. And of course, the consequences will be upon us sooner or later. So they said that, okay, we are through technology and through alternative resources, we are able to postpone, decay or damage to some extent, but now we see the climate actually is not cooperating with human beings. The kind of rains that we see, flooding we see across. What they only talked about the problems and they concluded saying that the future of the humanity is not that great, and we have so many species have become extinct, plants and animals, because of the too much of human interaction. And then it created a fear in me. Then questions, these existential questions I was forced to ask, who created this world? And human being, is it the last species to become extinct? Many species have become already extinct, animal species. They are all actually, they are there in the same world. We are destroying, cutting the branch on which we are sitting, as it were now, if you want to say this situation in the present world. And then that fear actually made me come to philosophy. I happened to read the Jnana Yoga of Vivekananda, and I really fell in love with that book. And the practical Vedanta lectures are from the Jnana Yoga book only, including the real and the apparent man also. All my questions, I got answers from that book. The kind of intellectual delight I derived when I was reading this Jnana Yoga book of Swamiji, and I can't even express it now. And all my doubts were clear. And then actually, I wanted to, looking for a platform, to realize the truth which Swami Vivekananda was telling. Religion is being and becoming, not just intellectually getting convinced of it. And I was looking for a platform, and Ramakrishna Mission, the platform that Swamiji himself had established. And I came and joined it, sir. You have to have passion for God and longing for God and longing for truth. Just actually because the world is not in that good form and good shape. And that's not enough actually. You have to have that positive aspiration to know God and to know the truth. Sri Ramakrishna himself was a householder, but that kind of longing that he had displayed for God, too intense, right? So your ashram in which you are, your brahmachari or monk or grihastha or vanaprastha, it doesn't matter. How deep is your longing for God? That alone matters. There are many monks, after taking sannyasa, they become relaxed. They become complacent. They don't do the sadhana that they can do. They procrastinate. Oh, anyway, I have become monk. Complacency comes. I have attained something like that. There are people in the household world, like grihasthas, with tremendous dissatisfaction for the world, tremendous dispassion for the world, constantly thinking of God. Because they are reminded of the limitations of the world. Life is not going that smooth for them. They had a greater longing for God. I see some of the devotees. They are getting visions. Thakur appeared in my, vision. Mother actually appeared in my vision. They are saying, there is no reason to disbelieve them. Their longing was much greater. Definitely. Yeah, thank you all. I think it's time for your lunch and you're all busy people. Thank you for joining us.